Hello and welcome to Behind the Plastic, the show where toy photographers. I see you doing that, Jay. A show where toy photographers. Jay, you should talk like I'm talking, like just make the mouth movements. A show where toy photographers interview toy photographers about toy photography. With me, as always, Jay and Sully, my favorites. And today's guest is awesome. We're very, very excited to have him on. One of the most creative dudes on Instagram. Everybody, please welcome the 47 Chambers.
Hey, how you guys doing? Man?
Welcome to the show.
Oh man, this feels what's the word? Starstriking, if that makes sense. I'll be watching this all the time at work. What's it called? Like in the morning whenever I'm packing up packages and stuff. And I just be watching. I'll let it run. I'll do what I do, but I got it in my ear and stuff. And it's like I'll be chilling with y'all every day. Like y'all work with me. You know what I'm saying?
That's awesome.
Cool.
So it's cool to be on here.
Kenny, man, just keep replaying them. Just keep.
You know what I'm saying?
I
put them on loop. You know, I try. I don't know if y'all fake collectors on there. I'll be liking. I'll be subscribing. I don't know if y'all see me, but I'll be showing love.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Hey, you know how the show works. Then we're gonna start the timer. We got 12 minutes.
I'm ready
to it. All right, Kenny.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much for being on. Like I said, you're one of the most creative dudes. You're always doing so much cool stuff, and experimental. I would say, on your page. And from what I gather from your Instagram profile, you're into toys, comics, wrestling, and weed.
Hey, I didn't know we could talk about it, but we could talk about it. That's pretty much the core things that describe me, man.
Not in that order, though.
Not in that order. And I love comedy. I love comedy too. Those are probably the 5 things I love the most in the world.
Nice. Okay, cool. Well, tell us a little bit about Kenny.
All right. Well, my name's Kenny. I used to want to be a comedian, but then I had to get a real job, and then kind of just faded away from that. So I started doing some wrestling and stuff like that. When I started doing wrestling, my friend Derek, he was collecting action figures. He'd been collecting action figures, got Marvel Legends, Star Wars out the wazoo. It's crazy. And he was just like, Kenny, bro, you should get you some wrestlers. So I got myself some wrestlers. First wrestler was Hulk Hogan. I hate Hulk Hogan, but he was the only one in the stores. So I was like, all right, I'll get him. And then after I got Hulk Hogan, it turned into a whole obsession. He keeps saying, Kenny, you have a problem, because it was the wrestlers. After the wrestlers, I got into the Turtles. After I bought all the Turtles in the store, I got into DC superheroes. After DC superheroes, I finished up my horror collection. Then after that, I started getting to Marvel Legends, and he hates it because I used to shit on Marvel all the time. I'm a DC guy all the way, but then I started collecting the Legends, and I'm like, hey, you know what? Maybe Marvel not that bad.
Damn, Kenny. So are all the figures in your room, or you got stuff like leaking out? Do you have stuff in the kitchen cabinet, in the bathroom?
Nah, everything is. I can give you a quick tour if you don't mind. Everything is inside the living room. I live in a humble apartment. I got the setup right over here where I take the pictures. I got my wrestlers over here. I have an entire Ninja Turtle wall. Then I got the Marvel Legends. My girl got Care Bears. I had to get her to collect something. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
You got the horror figures, and you got the DC, and then you got the video games and a cat. And that's pretty much the setup. I like to keep it all around me at once. I just changed this shelf so I could see my DC figures, because it's like, what we getting them for if we're not looking at them?
That's right, man.
Right.
Like box collectors or closet collectors, people who have like stuff in storage bins. What are you doing, bro?
What do you do? I have a friend, his name's Anthony, and he has a crazy collection inside his closet, and he doesn't take pictures. He just collects them. And I'm just like, why? Show everyone.
Hey, Anthony. I hope Kenny gets you to watch this. Anthony, I don't know who the hell you are, but I'm telling you, you're insane, bro.
You're insane. I'll go watch it. I'll let him know. But yeah.
So Kenny, you are a toy photographer, but also a wrestler. Is that right?
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, like I said, I used to want to be a comedian. I had a show called The Effing Show. I have a patch somewhere on it. And it's a comedy show of, weed and debauchery and stuff like that. But then I started growing up, and I was just like, I find myself getting into too much trouble doing this stupid stuff. I need to lay low. I need to settle down. I need to be an adult. So I was like, but I still got a lot of in me. You know what I'm saying? So doing wrestling, it's like, you see the bad guys all the time. They go out there, you guys suck. I can do a great job at that. I feel like I do a great job. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do the wrestling. I want to see where it goes. I don't know if I'll be anybody, but I definitely know that I'll go somewhere. I'll do something.
So was Andy Kaufman a role model for you?
Man, what? I saw the shirt the other day at a restaurant. They had the women's best wrestling to whatever his shirt says. Dude was selling it for $30, and I had $22. I was so mad. I wanted it so badly because that's what Andy Kaufman did was genius. I don't want to talk about it too much because I'll talk for hours. But God love comedy. What he did was that's how you get heat.
There you go.
Right. Man, Kenny must love the How Highs. The what's the Dave Chappelle High movie?
That's my favorite. I watch it every 420. I literally made my girl watch it for the past two 420s. It's Half Baked and How High. I watch those movies back to back every 420. Those are my favorite
Kenny, man,
movies.
I knew I loved you for a reason, bro.
You know what I'm saying?
By the way, full disclosure, I have never smoked weed in my life. But
hey, and that's cool.
I act like I'm high anyway.
I'm not the type of person that likes to. I used to tell people, "Hey, you should smoke," but honestly, it's a me thing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like some people, if they don't do it, I wish that if I could be real, I wish I never started. It's a very expensive habit. Toys. But as you know, with toys, once you in it, it's for life. You know,
for life.
Hey, Kenny, what's your wrestler name?
My wrestler name, I really don't know yet. But since I was doing my show, it was called the Effin' Show. I wanted to incorporate Kenny and the Effin' Show and see if I could. But I know Rob Van Dam, he has the Effin' Show, so I have to find a way to work around that. But I don't know if I just want to keep. I feel like I'm a character in my own. People, they create characters so if they go out there and be somebody like Hulk Hogan. His name is Terry something. He had a character. But me, I just feel like I'm just me. I'm just gonna go out there and just be the best Kenny I could be. So, but my friend tells me, he's like, no, you got to come up with something cool. Kenny kind of lame.
Effin' Kenny, man.
My mom picked it. It's my dad.
Pretty good.
So
Effin' Kenny's been. I'm sure that was proposed to you. Effin' Kenny.
Effin' Kenny.
That's pretty good, dude.
I actually haven't thought about that at all. I like that.
All right.
Like that. I haven't thought about that at all.
I vote yes.
Yeah, well, there we go. I think we got it.
All right, Effin' Kenny. Let's take a look at one of your shots.
Oh, I'm excited. I want to see what y'all think.
Let's go.
Actually, we're going to look at two of your shots because I want to look at this first because you have your own character in these comics that you make.
It's me.
Yeah.
Effin' Kenny.
I showed my cousin, he's like 13 or 15, somewhere around that ballpark area. And he was like, Kenny, you know this is fan fiction, what you just made. I'm like, wait. What do you mean? He's like, no, you just created Ninja Turtle fan fiction. I was like, well, if that's what it is, that's what it is.
Absolutely. Nothing wrong with it.
Let me tell y'all, this comic, if I might rant too much, I'm trying not to, but this comic, I know it probably took me about 2 months to make the last comic. And it may seem like, I just take my time, but when I tell you every single day, I'm thinking of ideas and what am I going to do next? And the first idea that I had when I first made the first one, it is nowhere near what I have now. Like now I had a plan out for the next one where Casey and Kenny fight, but I'm just like, no, you know what? I came up with something better.
Don't give away stuff. I look forward to this shit, Kenny.
If you read the last one,
yes,
Casey and Kenny are about to throw down.
Yes. And speaking of, this is the shot we actually want to look at.
Oh yeah,
look at this.
That's crazy. That one I actually put no effort in.
Well, bro, that's not true at all.
It's always the ones.
I mean, I guess the Photoshop to me, it's just I've been doing Photoshop since I was in high school. It was a class at first, and then it became a hobby. And it just comes, I'm not saying I'm good at it. As you can see, I mean, there's people out there who do amazing, phenomenal, fantastic work you could charge hundreds of dollars for. I'm like a $10 guy. I'll charge you about $10. I'm fair. You know what I mean?
Hey, man, it works for your purposes.
I like that you guys picked this one.
It works for your purposes. It looks awesome. The comic book vibe of it is just perfect. It's exactly what you want for your stuff. Yeah. You've been making these comic books for a while, and I know that they're very time consuming. I can tell you put a lot of love into them. You really think about I really want actual issues of it,
And actually, that's the plan. Since right now Instagram only lets you do 10 slides, and it was an Instagram thing at first. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna finish the story. I'm gonna tell the story on Instagram, and then after that, since I know I probably can't sell this legally, I'm gonna make physical copies and give them out to homies or people who wanted to get one and stuff like that. So that's a plan that I actually do have.
Kenny, if we don't get copies of the full thing,
you already first on the list.
We are never airing this unless we get copies.
First on the list, man.
This is gonna go on. When they look through the internet archives, they're gonna find the secret alien conversation and this episode, man. If we don't get it,
So, Kenny, how long did this particular issue, your latest issue, take from start to finish, do you think?
The last one that I did, I started immediately after I finished the third one, because I think this is the fourth one. So as soon as I finished the third one, I was like, let's get started. I was very excited. And then I just was like, dang, I don't feel like taking everything out. I don't . And that was about 2 months ago, because I think this one's supposed to drop in June and it's July. And so throughout June, I would come to the computer, I'd sit down, I'd dabble, I'd do something, I walk away. But then one day I got on and I did the one part where they explode. It's already out, so I shouldn't be spoiling too much.
Yeah.
But what's it called? They explode and stuff. And I remember it took me a while to Photoshop that. And then when I was done, something my cats did made me kick the computer and turn it off. And I got so mad. I went up, I rolled up, and I just forgot about it for about a month. And then I don't know what it was. I forgot. I think. No, definitely was Jay. Jay was hitting me up almost about like every 2 weeks or so. And he's like, Kenny, enough is enough. Where's the comic? All right, let's stop playing around. And so I was like, all right, let me get back to it. And when I got back to it, I was like, oh, the ideas is juicy. And so I finished up the pictures, recreated the thing, and then dropped it immediately. I think the one that I dropped, I started working on it 3 days. I started working on it again 3 days before I dropped it.
See, this is how the Game of Thrones books get delayed. Same
you know what I'm saying? It just, hey,
Kicking computers because of cats.
let's go.
It is time.
Yeah.
You know what
I'm ready.
time?
Oh,
It's
I'm
hot seat time.
I'm
right,
ready. I'm
Kenny.
practicing.
What
Go ahead.
What is your go-to late night munchies?
Late night munchies, McDonald's, because it's right down the street. It's the only thing open on DoorDash. I do not feel like walking.
Who would be your wrestling not idol, but someone who would train you for life? What do you call that?
Somebody who would train me for life, man. I would like to get trained by Shawn Michaels, because I love Shawn Michaels. But if my wrestling idol would be New Jack. I don't know if you guys know New Jack, crazy ECW guy who jumped off stuff and would stab people.
Kenny, we're adults. We don't know what the hell that is.
No, he's from the 90s, man. He's past our time.
Besides Casey Jones, who's your favorite Ninja Turtle?
Donatello. That's offer. I just love Don.
Okay, if you could only have one turtle to back you up in a fight, who would it be?
Raphael.
Damn,
Raphael
nice.
most definitely.
All right, Kenny, what kind of weed am I trying for the first and only time in my life?
You would have to go to a dispensary and then just find something casual. Get you something like a regular 3.5 or something. It really doesn't matter what you get, but I would get it like a sativa, because that makes you loosey-goosey.
Man, I'm loosey-goosey as this. All right.
Exactly.
I'll say if he got any more loose, he might fall off the chair. Who's your favorite wrestler?
My favorite wrestler, it would have to be either New Jack, Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold. Damn, that's a really hard question, man.
Kenny, stop reading a list.
It's hard. It's hard.
Get him, Zach.
Okay, if you were able to walk into one video game world, which one would it be in 3 seconds? 2.
Damn, it would probably be Fortnite.
Well, guys.